Hello, friends from across the nation and around the world. I'm Martin, and you are listening to Dad's Bedtime Stories. In fact, you're listening to an episode of Dad's Bedtime Stories that almost didn't happen because I was on a family trip and just got back now with very little time to do an episode. As a result, I decided that I would do a bedtime storytime episode. And that's where I take one of your ideas for sort of a standalone episode. I storyboard it, make up all the major points that I want to have happen. And, I use a little bit of AI assistance to turn it into a story because I just didn't have time to make my own today. I am pretty happy with how this turned out, though. Let's check out the story idea that inspired it from Harriet.
Hello, my name is Harriet. I'm 10 years old and from Charlottesville, Virginia. I'd like to suggest a bedtime story time that is about a girl who, when she turns 10 on her birthday, she discovers that she has magic powers. I would prefer if she had the powers of, video game, like she could pause, she could control people if they got close enough, stuff like that. And I would also prefer for her name to be Harriet, but you can choose. Thank you. I love your podcast. Bye.
Well, Harriet, I hope you like what we came up with. As I said, I spent some time storyboarding the entire thing when I had a chance to, but, the specific dialogue and stuff like that was partially helped by AI in this case, so I think it's important to be honest about that. But at the same time, I still think it's a pretty fun story, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. If you like the podcast, don't forget to rate it and review it on whatever platform you're listening on. Hit that like button if you're on YouTube, and comment or whatever. Now it's time to get as comfy as you can in that bed, close your eyes, and imagine yourself doing what the kid in the story does. Harriet had loved video games for as long as she could remember. She loved racing games, building games, adventure games, puzzle games, space games, and even games where you played as a confused goose whose main goal appeared to be stealing sandwiches. Harriet did not simply play video games, though. She studied them. She learned every shortcut, discovered every hidden room, and tested every suspicious-looking wall to see whether it was secretly breakable. Tomorrow, Harriet would turn 10. She expected cake, presents, and possibly a new portable game console if the unusually rectangular package in her parents' closet meant what she thought it meant. But she certainly did not expect her parents to sit her down in the living room and tell her that her family had, magical powers. "Harriet," her father said seriously, "there's something we need to explain before your birthday." Her mother sat beside him, looking excited but also slightly nervous. Harriet lowered the controller she was holding. "Am I in trouble?" "No," her mother said. "Did you find out I looked in the closet?" Her parents glanced at each other. "What closet?" her father asked. "Never mind." Her father leaned forward and rested his elbows on his knees. "Harriet, there's no easy way to tell you this, but the thing is, every person in our family, when they turn 10 years old, that is, develops a sort of special ability." Harriet waited for him to smile, but he didn't. You mean like being able to whistle really loudly or something like that?" she asked. "No," said her father. "I mean a superpower. Harriet, you're gonna get superpowers." Harriet just stared at him. Her mother nodded. "Our family is descended from several ancient wizard families," she explained. The old magic has been passed down from parent to child for hundreds of years. It's changed over time, though. We don't usually cast spells with wands anymore. Instead, the magic sort of becomes part of us. And everyone gets powers at 10? Harriet asked. Usually during the night before their 10th birthday, she explained. Harriet looked from one parent to the other. So, what can you do? She asked, suspiciously. Her father grinned. Her mother stood up. We thought you might ask that. They led Harriet through the kitchen and out into the backyard. Evening sunlight shone across the grass, and a few birds watched from the fence as though they'd purchased tickets to whatever show was about to happen. Harriet's mother raised one finger. She moved it through the air as though she were drawing on an invisible sheet of paper. A glowing blue line appeared behind her fingertip. Harriet stepped closer. Her mother drew a round body, 4 tiny legs, 2 wings, a curling tail, and a head with 2 small horns. When the drawing was complete, she tapped it. The glowing picture shook itself, stretched, and popped out of the air. A tiny blue dragon flapped around Harriet's head. Harriet ducked. The dragon landed on her shoulder, sneezed a puff of glittering smoke, and tried to eat a loose strand of her hair. You made that? Harriet cried. I've always loved art, her mother said. My power lets me bring my creations to life. They only last a short time, though. The dragon gave Harriet's ear an affectionate lick, then dissolved into blue sparks and drifted away in the breeze. That was amazing, she said. Harriet turned towards her father. So, what can you do? Well, I'm incredibly strong, really. Almost invulnerable, even. He walked to the far end of the yard, where a gigantic landscaping rock rested near the fence. It was nearly as wide as the kitchen table. Her father bent down, wrapped his arms around it, and lifted it over his head. Harriet's mouth fell open. Her father tossed the rock into the air. It rose high above the roof of the house, stopped, and came hurtling back down. Harriet screamed a little bit, but her father just leaned forward. The rock struck him directly on the top of the head and exploded into dozens of pieces. Her father remained standing. He was dusty, but he didn't look hurt at all. Harriet just stared at him. Her mother just folded her arms. I liked that rock. Well, I didn't know how else to demonstrate the true nature of my powers, her father replied. Harriet looked at the shattered rock that was scattered across the ground. So, tomorrow I'm gonna get something like that? Well, your powers will probably match your personality, her mother explained. Mine came from my love of drawing. Your father's came from his determination to solve every problem by hitting it or lifting it. He had a rough childhood. I don't solve every problem that way, her father protested. Well, not anymore. Her mother responded by simply giving him a look that meant, sure you don't, honey. That night, Harriet climbed into bed without knowing what to believe. Her parents had definitely just demonstrated superpowers, unless they'd somehow arranged an advanced hologram, a trained miniature dragon, and maybe some sort of exploding rock. Well, if not, everything they'd told her had to be true. Harriet closed her eyes and tried to imagine what power she might receive. Perhaps she would fly. Perhaps she would turn invisible. Maybe she'd be able to control electricity, or speak to animals, or create animals out of electricity. She hoped she didn't receive the power to, organize closets or something like that. Her bedroom needed that, but she certainly didn't want it as a power. Sometime after midnight, Harriet woke to a strange humming sound. A beam of light shone through the ceiling and surrounded her bed. Her blankets lifted into the air, and Harriet lifted with them. She floated several feet above her mattress, unable to move or call out. The light became brighter. It rushed through her skin and filled her body with a weird tingling energy. For a moment, Harriet saw glowing symbols spinning around her. Hearts, arrows, buttons. A health bar? Then the light vanished. Harriet dropped onto her bed with a bounce. When morning came, she wondered whether it had all been a dream. She jumped out of bed and immediately tested every power she could think of. She drew a cat in the air with her finger. Nothing happened. She grabbed the frame of her bed and tried to lift it. It remained exactly where it was and exactly as heavy as she remembered. She ran down the hallway as fast as she could, but she was not super fast. Finally, Harriet climbed onto her bed, jumped into the air, and stretched out both arms. But she did not fly. She landed face first in her pillows. At breakfast, Harriet dropped into her chair. I didn't get any powers. Her parents looked up from decorating a stack of birthday pancakes. Are you sure? Her mother asked. I tried everything. I can't fly, I can't lift heavy things, or run fast, or draw dragons. Well, did anything unusual happen last night? Her father asked. Harriet told them about the beam of light and the floating above her bed. Her father pointed his fork at her. Well, that's the sign. Same thing happened to me, he said, except, I floated into the ceiling and cracked the plaster. I'm sure you have powers, honey. You'll just have to wait and see what they are. After breakfast, Harriet opened her presents. The rectangular package was, as expected, a new portable game console. She was thrilled, but she still couldn't stop thinking about her missing powers. Eventually, Harriet went into the big living room and turned on one of her favorite games. On the screen, a blocky adventurer stood in a forest, holding a sword in one hand and a pickaxe in the other. Harriet picked up the controller, and a sudden pulse raced down both of her arms. Bright energy burst from her fingers and streamed into the controller. The television flashed. The blocky adventurer shot out of the screen and landed on the carpet beside her. Harriet dropped the controller. The character stood perfectly still. It was nearly as tall as Harriet, with square boots, square hands, and a sword that appeared much sharper now that it was no longer made of pixels. Harriet slowly picked the controller back up. She pushed the movement stick forward. The adventurer marched straight ahead. She pushed it left, and the character turned left. She pressed the jump button, and the adventurer leapt into the coffee table, knocking over a bowl of birthday candles. Harriet gasped. Then she smiled. "Oh," she whispered, "I definitely got powers." Using the controller, Harriet guided the blocky adventurer through the kitchen. Her parents were cleaning up breakfast when the character marched through the doorway, swung its pickaxe, and removed one perfect cube from the wall somehow. Harriet's mother stared at the square hole. Her father stared at the adventurer. Harriet held up the controller. "I think I figured out what my power does," she said. Harriet's father slowly walked around the blocky adventurer. "Can it understand us?" he asked. Harriet looked at the character. "Hello?" The adventurer stared straight ahead. Harriet moved one of the controller sticks and the character turned towards her father. "I don't think it does anything unless I control it." Her mother stepped closer to the square hole in the kitchen wall. "Can you make it put that piece back?" Harriet examined the controller. "I can try." She pressed several buttons. The adventurer switched from its pickaxe to a gray block, walked over to the wall, and placed the block inside the hole. It fit perfectly. And as soon as it was placed, the little outline around it disappeared. "That's incredible," her father said. "So your power's connected to video games." Harriet stared at the adventurer. "But I can't leave him standing in the kitchen forever." "Well, you should be able to send him back, honey," her mother said. "Magic still responds to focus and intent. Just picture the character returning to where it came from or something like that. It'll probably work." Harriet gripped the controller and concentrated. She pictured the forest inside the game. She imagined the adventurer standing beneath the blocky trees again. The character began to glow. A second later, it turned into a streak of light and shot back into the television. On the screen, the adventurer reappeared in exactly the same place it had been before. Harriet's father clapped his hands. "All right, now we need to test other parts of your powers. Maybe different games or something." Her mother gave him a warning look. "Carefully." "Of course carefully. Why would I do anything other than carefully?" he said. Then he paused. "Do we have like a dinosaur game or something?" They began with something that seemed safer, though. A racing game. Harriet loaded one of her favorites, a game filled with enormous ramps, impossible tracks, and cars equipped with rocket engines. Her mother looked at the screen. This does not seem safer to me." "Don't worry. We'll simply see if she can bring something else out of the video game. Oh, and Harriet, make sure you bring this one outside the house, please." He guided her over to the back door, opened it up, and pushed her outside gently. Harriet selected a bright racing car and focused on it with her mind. Energy rushed from her hands into the portable console once again. A streak of light shot out of the console and formed itself into a rocket car. It landed with a heavy thump. A full-sized rocket racing car was sitting in the grass. It had wide tires, a pointed front end, and two enormous rocket boosters attached to the back. The side of the car was decorated with glowing lightning bolts. Harriet walked around it in amazement. "It's real." Her father knocked on the hood. It certainly feels real." Harriet opened the driver's door and climbed inside. There was no steering wheel or pedals or gear shift. The dashboard was covered with glowing lights, but the only way to control the car appeared to be through the game controller. Her father climbed into the passenger seat. "All right, we should test it," he said. Harriet's mother stood outside the car with her arms crossed. "Be very careful, guys. Maybe just a few meters forward and then stop it or something." "That's exactly what I was thinking," said Harriet's father. Harriet pressed the accelerator trigger. The rocket boosters exploded to life, and the car blasted across the lawn, smashed through the wooden gate, and flew onto the road. Harriet screamed. Her father screamed louder. "The brake!" he shouted. "I don't remember which button it is." Harriet pressed one, and the car jumped. It soared over a parked truck, landed on the other side, and continued speeding down the street. She pressed another button, and the rocket boosters became even louder. The car shot forward so quickly that houses became a blur. They crashed through a stack of recycling bins, bounced over a flower garden, and knocked the giant plastic ice cream cone off of the roof of a nearby shop. It landed in the back seat. Her father twisted around. "I've always wondered how heavy that thing was." "Dad?" "Right, emergency," he said, turning back around. Harriet tried to steer around a delivery van. The car swerved, hit a ramp that someone had left beside a construction site, and launched into the air. For a moment, Harriet and her father were flying over the town. Ahead of them stood a water tower, and they were headed directly for it. "Stop!" her father yelled. Harriet panicked and slapped the pause button, as she sometimes did when she was in a particularly scary part of a game. Everything suddenly became silent. The car froze mid-air. Her father froze beside her with his mouth open and both hands pressed against the dashboard. Outside, birds hung motionless in the sky. A construction worker stood below them, holding a sandwich halfway to his mouth. Water pouring from a fountain had become a clear, motionless sculpture that kind of looked like it was plastic. Floating words appeared in front of Harriet. Continue, reset, load save point. Harriet stared at them. She pressed the car door open. The car remained frozen in the air, but Harriet was able to climb out. She stepped carefully onto nothing and, well, fell out of the car flat onto her face about 5 feet down. It hurt quite a bit, but nothing else around her moved. She looked around at the water tower, which was only a few seconds away from being smashed by the rocket car. The words continued to float in front of her face somehow. "Well, I probably don't want to hit continue," she said. Instead, she selected load save point, not sure exactly what would happen. A new window appeared. There was only one save moment listed. Today's date at 10:42 a.m. Harriet realized that it was right around the time when the race car had first appeared in the backyard. She selected it, hit accept, and the world stretched around her. Harriet flew backward through a tunnel of light. She saw the car racing in reverse, the recycling bins rebuilding themselves, the ice cream cone returning to the shop, and the backyard gate leaping back onto its hinges. Then she was sitting inside the parked car again. Her father climbed into the passenger seat. "We should test it," he said. Harriet remembered hearing those exact words before. This time, she held up one hand. "I think we should find somewhere safer before we test a rocket car," she said. "Just think about what could go wrong. I mean, who would be dumb enough to do that?" Her father considered this. "That is an excellent idea." They climbed out. Harriet looked through the games on her portable console. "A racing car is probably not the best thing to test in the middle of a town. Maybe something slower?" her mother suggested. Harriet stopped on the cover of her favorite space game. "I have another idea." Her mother looked at the picture of several spaceships firing lasers at one another. "Is it a safer idea, dear?" "Well, I won't hit any recycling bins," she said as she selected a silver spaceship and focused. Energy flowed into the console, the ground shook, and a sleek spacecraft appeared in the backyard, replacing the car that was there before, and crushing part of the fence beneath its landing legs. Her father winced. I guess we can fix that later." Harriet pressed a button on the console, and a hatch opened on the side of the ship. "Well, why don't you both come with me?" she said. Her parents exchanged a nervous look, but they climbed aboard. Inside, there were 3 padded seats, glowing control panels, and a wide front window. Harriet sat in the pilot's chair with the controller in her hands. Her parents strapped themselves in. Honey, maybe just a little test, like 3 meters off the ground and then we land again?" Harriet pressed the launch button. The ship blasted straight upward. Her parents screamed as the house dropped away beneath them. Harriet quickly discovered that flying the ship felt exactly like playing the video game. She tilted the controller, and the spacecraft rolled smoothly through the sky. She flew over the town, crossed a river, and zoomed toward a nearby city. Tall buildings rushed past beneath them. Then, Harriet pulled back on the controller. The ship pointed straight up. Clouds flashed around them. The sky darkened from blue to black. A moment later, they burst out of Earth's atmosphere. Her father stared through the window at the glowing curve of the planet. "That is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen," he said. Her mother just gripped both sides of her seat with everything she possibly could, then quickly drew a seatbelt around herself and brought it to life. "It would be even more beautiful if we were still standing on it, safely," she said. Harriet just laughed and pushed the ship forward. They flew through space, leaving Earth behind. Stars filled the window, and the moon grew larger until Harriet could see every crater and ridge across its surface. She guided the ship around the far side, and for a few moments, Earth disappeared completely. Her parents became very quiet. Then, the blue planet rose above the moon's horizon. Harriet slowed the ship so they could stare at it. After a complete trip around the moon, Harriet's father cleared his throat. "Well, this has been wonderful. We are going home now," her mother said firmly. Harriet turned the spacecraft back towards Earth. She entered the atmosphere carefully, remembering to slow down before reaching the city. The ship passed through the clouds, crossed familiar fields, and descended toward their neighborhood. Harriet landed in the front yard. It wasn't the softest landing in history, but only one garden decoration fell over. The three of them climbed out. Harriet focused on the game, and the spaceship dissolved into light before streaming back into the console. She looked down at the list of games. There were dragons to summon, magic kingdoms to explore, underwater cities to visit, and dozens of characters she could bring into the real world. "I wonder what else I can do," she said. Then Harriet yawned so widely that she nearly dropped the console. Her legs suddenly felt weak. Her father caught her before she fell. You used too much magic," he said. "Huh? What do you mean?" "Well, your body only has a limited amount of magic," he explained. "You must have used a lot creating all of those constructs. It's time to rest, dear. You recover mana the best when sleeping." He carried her inside and placed her on the couch. Harriet's mother covered her with a blanket. Harriet closed her eyes. In her mind, she saw menus and save points, game worlds, and endless possibilities. She could pause time. She could return to earlier moments in time. She could pull almost anything out of a video game and use it. She'd only been 10 for a few hours, but boy was she excited about what else it would bring. Harriet smiled as she quickly fell asleep. Tomorrow, she'd try something else. Good night, everyone.